Hello everyone, welcome back to our layer review. And in this lecture video, we will rationalize sample questions on animal breeding and genetics, particularly first with Mendelian genetics. Now, and these questions that I will be rationalizing will hopefully help you recall important concepts, understand their applications, and be ready for the exam. So let's start with question number one. According to Mendel's law of segregation, alleles A are always inherited, B blend permanently in hybrids, C separate during gamete formation, or D mutate randomly during reproduction. I repeat the question. According to Mendel's law of segregation, alleles A are always inherited together, B blend permanently in hybrids, C separate during gamete formation, or D mutate randomly during reproduction. The correct answer here is letter C. Alleles separate during gamete formation. Mendel's law of segregation states that during meiosis, the two alleles for a gene segregate, so each gamete carries only one copy, and that is the one allele. No, letter A is incorrect because alleles do not always stay together; they separate, so they are not always inherited together. So this statement, this letter already violates Mendel's law of segregation. Option B reflects the old blending theory. If you recall, this blending theory was disproved by Mendel. This states that inheritance was a permanent mixing of parental traits. And Mendel disproved this by showing that traits are inherited as discrete units or alleles which segregate and recombine but do not lose their identity. And then option D is wrong because mutation is not the basis of segregation or separation of alleles. This is incorrect because Mendel's law deals with the regular mechanics of inheritance and not with rare genetic changes, right? So mutation is just the sudden changes in the DNA sequence, and this is not related to Mendel's law of segregation. So remember, segregation means the separation of alleles during formation of gametes during meiosis. Question number 2. The alternative forms of a gene that occupy the same locus are called A. Alleles, B. Chromatids, C. Genotypes, or D. Phenotypes. I repeat the question. The alternative forms of a gene that occupy the same locus are called A. Alleles, B. Chromatids, C. Genotypes, or D. Phenotypes. The correct answer is letter A. Alleles. Alleles are the different forms or the different versions of the same gene. For example, we have gene A, and then the versions could be, or the forms could be capital A, which we call the dominant A, and the lowercase a, which we call the recessive A. So the forms could be dominant or recessive if the type of gene action, of course, is complete dominance. So the answer for this is alleles. Next. Option B is wrong because chromatids are the identical copies of a chromosome formed after DNA replication, which are joined together at the centromere. And they are not the same as alleles since chromatids are duplicated DNA strands and they are not alternative forms of a gene. Letter C, genotype. Genotype refers to the entire genetic makeup of an organism, or specifically the combination of alleles an individual has for a particular trait. And then phenotypes naman, this refers to the observable traits or characteristics expressed by an organism which result from the interaction of genotype and the environment. Therefore, the precise term here is alleles. Okay? They are sharing the same locus. By the way, when we say locus, locus is the exact physical location or what we call the address of a gene on a chromosome. Question number 3. A farmer breeds two heterozygous black pigs. If black is dominant, what proportion of the offspring will be white? A, one half, B, one third, C, one fourth, D, three fourths. I repeat the question. A farmer breeds two heterozygous black pigs. If black is dominant, what proportion of the offspring will be white? A, one half, B, one third, C, one fourth, D, three fourth. The correct answer here is one fourth. So black is dominant, and of course, the alternative phenotype is white. So remember, when we are crossing two heterozygous genotypes, that is the monohybrid cross. So monohybrid cross, the phenotypic ratio, what we are looking for here is phenotypic. No, we are pertaining to the phenotypes, the black and white. So the resulting phenotypic ratio produced from a monohybrid cross is 3 is to 1, or 75% is to 25%, or 3/4 is to 1/4. 3/4 for the dominant black and 1/4 for the recessive phenotype, which is white. And then question number 4. A cross between a homozygous recessive individual and heterozygote is called a letter A, backcross, B, crossbred, C, outcross, D, test cross. I repeat the question. A cross between a homozygous recessive individual and heterozygote is called A, backcross, B, crossbred, C, outcross, D, test cross. The correct answer here is D, test cross. So a test cross is used to determine if an individual showing the dominant trait is homozygous or heterozygous. And to do that, we cross it with a homozygous recessive individual. Option A naman, back cross, well, of course, from the term back, we involve mating of the offspring with the parent. We mate the offspring back to the parent, or it could also be mating the offspring with a genetically similar individual. So similar with the parent, no? And then letter B, crossbred. This is the product or offspring produced from crossbreeding, or offspring produced from crossing two different breeds. And then letter C, outcross is the product of mating two unrelated individuals within a breed. So the specific genetic tool here to determine if an individual showing the dominant trait is homozygous or heterozygote is test cross. Question number 5. In certain horse breeds, a chestnut horse with a genotype homodominant R crossed with a white horse, homozygous recessive R, produces offspring with a genotype heterozygous that have a coat showing both chestnut and white patches. Which type of inheritance is illustrated? A, complete dominance, B, codominance, C, incomplete dominance, or D, epistasis. I repeat the question. In certain horse breeds, a chestnut horse crossed with a white horse produces offspring that have a coat showing both chestnut and white patches. Which type of inheritance is illustrated? A, complete dominance, B, codominance, C, incomplete dominance, or D, epistasis. And the correct answer here is B, codominance. Codominance because the two phenotypes, the chestnut and the white, are both shown in the offspring. So, kumbaga, they coexist. So, there's no recessive here. So, they are fully expressed. Both alleles in the offspring are fully expressed without blending. So the chestnut and the white phenotypes, they do not blend, but rather they are expressed fully. Option A is incorrect because complete dominance would produce only one visible trait, correct? So there would be masking if there is complete dominance. And only one phenotype, one visible trait is expressed if it's letter A. For letter C, incomplete dominance. Incomplete dominance is incorrect because this would produce blending. And option D, epistasis is not because epistasis pertains to one gene masking the expression of another gene. So we only have one trait here, so epistasis is for two traits or more. So to summarize what we had just discussed, Mendelian genetics explains how traits are inherited through segregation, dominance, and allele interaction. And understanding these principles is critical not only for exams, but also for practical applications in animal breeding. So that ends our rationalization session for this set of Mendelian genetics questions. And if found that would be all.